In today's video, we're going to be looking at a budget survival knife from Station 9, a brand you may never have heard of, but I think after you see this knife, you're going to want one. Stick around. So I'm out scouting around today, and it's been a while since I've been out in the woods videoing stuff. I think it's been probably 3 or 4 weeks. Weather's been bad. I've been sick. It's just been it's been a horrible January. I am back out, and let me get this stuff off so you can actually see my face. So today we're going to be looking at this knife. This is from a company called Station 9. It's a company that I really didn't have much familiarity with, but a buddy of mine, Bushcraft and Baseball, you need to check out his channel and his Instagram. He is a super knife freak and aficionado. He really has some very cool stuff. He knows a lot about knives and collects knives. And he was showing this on his feed, and I was immediately drawn to it because I love a good all-purpose military-style survival knife. So before we get into it, let's just discuss what a survival knife is. Everybody's going to have a different definition of what a survival knife means. For me, survival knives tend to be an all-purpose knife that can do a variety of tasks, from wood processing, game cleaning, cutting rope, digging, just all kinds of different things it's going to be able to do, because you don't know what you're going to be facing in a survival situation or even a military tactical type situation where you're out doing fieldcraft. Bushcraft knives, in my opinion, tend to be smaller, thinner, and Scandinavian grind because they are suited for wood carving tasks primarily. That doesn't mean that knives can't cross over. And keep one thing in mind, and this is something that I always say, that it is not the tool, but it is the user. You know, an experienced woodsman is going to be able to take pretty much any knife and make it do what he needs it to do in a particular situation. But survival knives, particularly in a fieldcraft situation, have some criteria, and this knife from Station 9 kind of hits all those marks. It's a very affordable knife. It is in the sub $100 range. It is 1095 high carbon steel. Has G10 handles. It has that nice finger guard to it, so it keeps your hand from slipping down onto the blade. And then it has just a very basic style and shape. There's nothing extraordinary or fancy about it, but it is a proven design for field use. It is a black oxide coated blade, so there's a little bit of a dark gray color to it, help protect that 1095. It does have a sharpened spine, even though when I got mine, I don't think the spine was particularly sharp, so I had to do a little work on mine, just a little file work on it to help it a little bit. But it does have holes in the handle, so they pass through. So if you want to do a cord all the way through that handle, down the length of it, you can. But it is just something about this knife that really spoke to me. And I want to go out here, mess with it a little bit today, and show you guys what I think of it, because when I think of a general purpose survival knife, this is the knife that I have in my mind, and I think it's going to work out perfectly for that application. Now, so when you get the Station 9 SERE 8, that's the model number of this knife, it comes with a Kydex sheath. This pouch and this leather dangler are additional items that you can purchase to add to the sheath, so that just makes it even more versatile, in my opinion. I like the dangler just because it lowers it on my belt kit, and it's not setting up high. I can get down to it easier, especially when I'm wearing layers like this jacket. And then the belt pouch, or the sheath pouch, is a great place to add additional survival supplies. So if I take this knife off and I put it on my person and I leave my backpack or my belt kit or other stuff back at camp and I wander away, at least I have my knife and I have this survival kit in here, and this holds all kinds of things, and we'll go through that as well. But it's been a real wet January, and everything on the ground is soaked, and most of the wood, even dead standing stuff, is pretty wet. But I was able to find some pieces and saw them off of a branch that was laying on the ground, kind of up off the leaves. It's semi-dry, the outside's pretty wet, but at least this will give us some stuff to start with. So, of course, a task that you're going to want to probably perform with a survival knife is you're going to want to be able to process some wood to get to that dry center. That's why full tang knives tend to excel at that a little bit better than a stick tang. So you're just processing your wood down into kindling, smaller and smaller pieces to work with, get to that dry center. It's a task that you're going to do because possibly you don't have things like hatchets and axes with you because all you're carrying is a belt knife. So it is an improvised way of getting to dry wood. And one thing that I like to have with me is some kind of piece of material that I can process wood on top of. So if I'm doing shavings, I can have something that's going to grab them, capture them, keep them dry, keep them off the wet ground. A great item to carry that's multi-purpose that does that, but also can be utilized as a signal panel. Something like this. So this is a small pocket signal panel from Battle Systems. They're a company that unfortunately is no longer in business as far as I know. But they used to make these really cool little signal panels that kind of folded up, put in your pocket. But the point being, they're great to carry in a survival situation, of course, for signaling, but you can also utilize them, put them on the ground when you're working with your wood and capture some of those shavings you're trying to get your fire going. So I want some kind of base to work with. Boy, and this wood, it's super wet. You can feel it on the inside. It's damp. So even the exercise of getting to dry wood is not always going to work. Another cool old item I got is this. This is actually a military issue magnesium bar. All the newer ones that you find, like at Walmart and stuff, are not that great compared to these old ones. And these old ones are getting hard to find, but you know, one thing that you can do with the back of your knife, just use it to scrape. That magnesium. And actually a trick that I heard about that I haven't really tried, you take a piece of tape like this, okay, so now you got your duct tape. You put that down. Now you're going to scrape into that, and then hopefully what's going to happen is the scrapings are going to go on to the sticky part of that tape and stay. Because you notice when I first started doing that, they're just kind of blowing all over because it's kind of breezy out today. See if I can do this. A little bit. Kinda. So the magnesium thing, they're still not sticking that tape enough to create a good pile. So, little tin that I keep in that pouch on the knife, waterproof matches, snare wire, some Tinder Quicks. These are get this opened up to take a spark. I mean, you should be carrying a lighter, of course, but there we go. These are from Black and White Firestarter. You can find them on Etsy. I've done reviews of their stuff before. Look how wet the ground is. Super wet. So, not a big deal. We'll just put this out. Of course, you want your tip to be nice and strong with this kind of knife. You don't have to be worrying about it when you're in the field trying to do stuff. will say that handle with that guard is pretty comfortable, and it does stay where it needs to stay in my hand. I was a little concerned about that G10 being too smooth. I may take some hockey tape and just go through the center, put a band of hockey tape right in the center just to give it a little bit more grip. But if you're wearing gloves, let's see how it fits my hand perfectly. You got a place for your thumb, you got a place for your index finger to do those finer tasks, but still, when you choke up on it and you're driving it into a log or whatever, it's holding up just fine. You know, there are a lot of great knives on the market in this price range. Cold Steel makes a really great knife. The SRK Carbon, Gerber Strong Arm is another fantastic USA-made survival knife that's really in this kind of category. But of the ones that I've been handling, that I've used in the past, this has definitely become a favorite of mine. I really enjoy this knife. It's just, it feels great in the hand. I love that slim grip on it. It's not too chunky. And that guard, like I talked about before, is just perfect. Makes a lot of sense, that design. And it's such an economical knife at around $100 with a nice Kydex sheath. It ships out of the US. I got mine pretty quickly. So if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of this knife in use, subscribe and leave a comment down below. Also check out the affiliate links. I've got a link to my Amazon store, which has a lot of the gear that I use. Also check out links to One Thief Surplus. That's where I get all my military surplus from currently. I'll have a link to the Station 9 SERE 8 knife down below as well. Also check out the Facebook group, really growing, getting huge, like 16.8 thousand people, something like that. And then also if you're on Substack, I just started releasing articles on Substack. I plan on doing more of those, more in-depth articles. And then of course I also post those articles on my website, preparedwanderer.com. It's kind of a great place to see a lot of different stuff from myself and from my buddies, because we're always putting out content and linking back to videos, and then also selling Prepared Wanderer merchandise on there. So all that helps support the channel. And as always, I appreciate you watching my videos. So thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Prepared Wanderer.